Hey everybody, Nikki here. Welcome to the Interviews with Experts series. And today I'm super excited about this interview because I'm sitting here with my great friend and investor, John Fedro.
Thanks, Nikki. I am glad to be here. Thank you so much.
It is a Friday night, so we do have drinks.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to relax from the week. But I do want to just kind of intro with what you do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into a plethora of things.
Okay. That sounds good.
What do you do?
Whoa. This is really weird. Usually I do interviews, but I don't do them like this. This is cool. I don't know where to look. I'm going to keep looking at you. Do I look over here?
No, it's really intimidating. Just like we're having the conversation, basically. So you can just talk to me. Okay. So I'm asking you, what do you do? If you do want to address people, though, you can.
Mobile homes. Mobile homes is what I've been doing for so long. And they seem so normal to me. And man, just over like 18 years of people asking that question, you know, what do you do? What do you do? You always go to parties or go places and it's like, well, what do you do? Kind of a common question.
Yeah.
And I usually try to say something different, like, oh, like I try to play the piano or I go walking daily. And the people are like, no, what do you do for money? And of course, I know that's what they mean, but it's like mobile homes. And then that usually sparks kind of a conversation of like, what does that mean?
Because investing in mobile homes is not something you hear every day.
No,
right?
no.
Like,
in fact, when I just say the word mobile homes, they're like, oh, you either like move them, you build them, you work at a park, you're some kind of realtor for the mobile homes, not thinking that you can take some money, buy the mobile home. It's a little home. It's a regular house. It's a dwelling.
Yeah.
And you buy it and you clean it and you add value and you resell it for a profit.
Wow.
And so that's what I do. It's so weird. It's like, you know, there's so many things that people can do in the world. Like you're never taught as a kid, you can be an investor. Or I was never taught that.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
I mean,
at all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even close, right? I guess.
So how did you find mobile home investing? What sparked you to be like, I'm going to invest in mobile homes? Like,
that was, yeah, I was really embarrassed for a long time. I was a very bad employee. I had a roommate at the time who had a book on his shelf and it was about real estate investing. So I went through the book, I went through the course. I'm like, this is wonderful. They're pie in the sky numbers of, you know, anyone can be a real estate investor. You buy a home, just like kind of, this was like a binder, but it's like the same as like watching like one of those fix and flip shows on the Home Improvement channel. Like it was such pie in the sky numbers and like this can all be done in a matter of 30 minutes and you can make a ton of money. So I'm like, yes, that's what I want. So I read through this binder that was in my roommate's shelf at the time, and I tried to do exactly what was in the binder, and that was with single family homes, buying, fixing,
that's what everybody thinks of when they think of real estate investing.
Right.
Single family usually, right?
And even with single families, you can buy them with a bank loan, and you can fix them up and sell them and get a bunch of cash. You can wholesale the contract. You don't even have to buy the home.
Yep.
You get the home under contract, and that right there is the value. You found the deal, you got it under contract for a good price. Now you can kind of auction that contract off. Okay, it's a hot market. Who wants this contract? So you can wholesale it.
Yep.
You can do the same stuff with single family homes as you can with mobile homes. And so, but I was really embarrassed. Like my first deal was a mobile home in a park.
You just found this. I mean, how did you find the mobile home?
I was doing,
because at the time you didn't know you were going mobile homes, right?
No way.
You thought you were going single family homes.
I thought I was.
Yeah. So how did you find the mobile home? And then you were like, okay, there's something here.
It's so interesting looking back at how like all the twists and turns that kind of life takes and things. And I got a call on one of my, you know, those ugly signs that you see on the side of the road.
Yep.
Well, I had put one of those down, or I put a bunch of those down, and this lady who lived in a mobile home park took them all up. She's like, I hate these signs, and she took all the signs up that I was putting out. Like I put them out one night on a Tuesday. She took them all out Tuesday night, following me around. She threw them in her dumpster or her like trash bin on the side of her home. The neighbor's mobile home, she called me and I'm like, where did you find my number? And she's like, oh, my neighbor has the signs in her trash. And
that is the best story to kick off your career. Like, that is a story right there.
Yeah, I usually kind of gloss over that part, but it is really funny. And then, and she was a problem to begin. She was like late, because I did buy that home. That was my first deal.
Yeah.
And then she ended up sort of being like a thorn in my side, the neighbor. So it's like, it's funny the things that happen in the mobile home parks. But
I'm sure you have some stories.
It's fun. Real estate in general, maybe not in general, because I mean, some real estate maybe you can do behind the computer, but this real estate has been like a crash course in people. We're not dealing with millionaires. We're dealing with folks that are hardworking, good people, paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
When they need help sort of now.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized on that first deal. It was this woman who was 3 times my age at the time, maybe not, but in her mid 50s or so. And I got there, didn't even know it was a mobile home until I pulled into the park, which was dumb. I should have figured, but this was how new I was in real estate, that I was talking to her over the phone because I saw it in the paper. And it was $8,000. She was asking $8,000 for her home. And it was a 3.2 or 4.2. I forget what she was asking. It was a 4.2. And I'm like,
so that must have been like
$8,000 for a whole home.
That must have been like a double wide, right?
It was a double wide, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you're like, $8,000 for a home. That's cheap.
You know your stuff.
I
with
do.
The double wide.
Know
Well, they do. Oh, I don't know if I've seen a 4.2 single wide.
That'd be tough, wouldn't it?
I feel like I've seen one that was added on. Like they put an extra wall up to make like a fourth bedroom. But you're right. That would be very tough.
So you were like, $8,000, that's a deal.
$8,000. Well, I didn't have that money at the time.
Oh, okay.
When I got started, I used my little bit of life savings to do a lot of advertising that didn't work out. My last round of signs, that was my last money. Like, that's something that I don't actually talk about too much, is that I don't know what I was going to do after. I mean, I was going to keep working, but that was my last round of like signs. And the lady that called me was my first deal. So I didn't have any money to get started with. So when I went to her home, she was asking $8,000. We negotiated, and there were some problems with the home, but I got the seller down to $3,000 in that same. It was like a 3-hour talk. Really nice lady, but $3,000, and I still good price, right? A complete home, central air on a little pond.
That's a big
outside of Tampa.
That's a big change in the asking price.
It is a big. It is.
That's
but
some
it's
good
not
negotiation.
Uncommon.
That's some good negotiation, right? Or was there something else?
No, that's good negotiation.
Yeah.
But that's also, I don't want to say that every time. Yes, it was good negotiation. But you can, like, people that are watching this, I don't want them to get the false sense of, okay, someone's asking 20.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can. Someone's asking 20. You can talk them down to 10. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good deal. They may have been way overinflating the price, or there's other things that you're missing out on. So it's the price alone doesn't make it a good deal. But this one was.
Okay.
It was a good home. It was a nice home. All the appliances work and stuff, but I didn't have the $3,000. So I said, I'll give you 10 payments of $300 a month. So I did take what was in that binder that I first pulled off that shelf, and I'm like, payments? You can give a seller payments? They'll take payments from me. Why would they take payments from me? And so I turned that and I used that in mobile homes. I mean, I don't think I was doing anything new, but I just made this. It was wonderful.
You're
That's
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really expensive equipment with all this equipment. You know how many mobile homes we could buy with all of this equipment?
We could, hey.
Half a park, maybe.
Sell the studio. Let's go. Yeah, let's get a park.
So that was my first deal. It was a mobile home in a park. I bought for $3,000 on payments. I was really embarrassed, and I didn't want to tell anybody what I was doing.
Wow.
For many months later. But then when I sold it on payments, payments were always more sexy to me. I didn't want to just sell it for cash, although I maybe should have. But I sold it on payments the first time for, I think, $24,000. So I bought it for $3,000 on payments, sold it for $24,000. It's a 3.2. It's a 4.2.
You sold it for $24,000 on payments.
On payments.
Wow.
And I either got $2,500 down that first time. And then they stayed in there, I want to say, like 2.5 years.
Wow.
They left, those folks. I resold it again for in the 30s, but I only took $1,500 down. Now, granted, the people didn't pay me all 26 or 24. They were only there for 2.5 years. They left. The home was in very decent shape.
But you still own the home, so you can sell it again.
Absolutely. And I found out that people don't damage your places unless they're vindictive or mad at you. Like, I mean, I guess that's pretty cliche. Like, someone's going to bust up my home and leave and like be mad at me and smear poop on the walls or do whatever. And it's like, if they're vindictive towards you, they will. But if they just know that they can't pay, that's a different story. They're usually...
They probably have bigger issues at that time, so they're not going to destroy your property. They have other things to think about.
They do.
So, so basically, that's a fascinating story. I've known you for a really long time, and I don't know if I've ever actually heard this story about your first deal in that much detail. So you were kind of on your last leg with making this work. You were able to translate what you learned in traditional real estate investing, use some of that strategy with mobile homes, and basically you were able to fund your first deal and definitely make what'd you make? You made triple, quadruple your money.
That one took over 10 years to finally pay off. So the first time, most times when I sell them, they're for 5 or 6 years on payments. That one took over 10, maybe 11 or 12, but that took over 10 years. I got it back 3 times and I kept reselling it.
But your initial investment of $3,000, you got that back pretty quickly, right?
Well, technically I wasn't really out the $3,000.
You were paying payments to the buyer, to the seller, right?
And I negotiated $300 that first day and then no payments for 2 months.
Oh.
But I did have to do a little bit of plumbing. I remember calling Roto-Rooter, and so maybe I had like all into the deal less than $1,000 before I resold it. Yeah, cash.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this is how this works. Yeah. So that your actual out of pocket was $1,000,
right?
And then you were able to make back that $1,000.
Yeah.
Right. Pretty fast.
Those deals happen where I call those home run, as if like that's like a proprietary thing.
We have that with deals. Trading too. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that though. Like that would be so. No,
it's a home run.
Well, it's a home run deal in my opinion when you sell on payments and you get all of your money back recouped back in the move-in fee. So when you the acquisition price, the holding cost, lot rent, the gas and electric and water, material when you do repairs and labor, all of that back when you have somebody move in. That's a home run. Those happen once every 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 deals. So it's not like
like this isn't the regular everyday deal.
Right.
They don't always go that smoothly.
Correct.
Or perfectly.
That's correct.
Okay.
We aim to get all of our money back in 6 to 12 months or less.
Okay.
That one I got it back in like almost at the move-in fee. No, I did get it back because I only put the money down, only less than $1,000 down. So I did get the money back. And so I want to make as you're saying this stuff to me, it makes me sound really cool at the time. And like, I knew what I was doing. Like, I'm like, wow, I want to be that kid. Like, and at the time I was pooping my pants. I was really didn't know what I was doing.
You were, but fake it till you make it, right? Like you did the deal. And now you're in business. Now you've got a property that's cash flowing.
You're right.
You've made back your $1,000 and now you're getting payments from selling it to somebody new.
Mm-hmm.
And then those payments add up over time, however long they end up staying in the house.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is whoever buys it on payments from you, the idea is that they want to stick it out throughout the whole term to own the home outright eventually, right? Because when somebody buys it from you, they own it on payments, but it's not really officially titled in their name until they make that last payment to you, right?
It depends.
It depends.
It does. It depends for a few reasons. One, because the mobile home park that you're in, if the mobile home is in a park, they may say, Nikki, I'm cool with what you're doing. You sell on payments, but that person in the home, we got to see the title and their name has to be on title.
Oh.
You can be on a lien holder.
Okay.
So that may be a way so there's that reason, or they give you just a large down payment. And for that reason, you feel comfortable transferring over title.
But you're still lien holder.
Well, you could sell it with a lease with an option or a rent credit program. Some parks, they don't need to see anything.
Okay.
I would rather, what you said, I would rather keep the title in the owner's name, the investor's name. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give the person title unless I have to.
Right.
So if the park is making me, then we will. But if not, then we'll use something.
But there are
else.
protections in place if you do have to send the title or title it in the buyer's name. There's protections in place for you as the technically you haven't been paid fully for the mobile home yet. So there's something you can do to make sure that your butt is covered and that you don't title this home over and never get it back if someone decides, hey, I don't want to pay you anymore, John.
Absolutely.
There's a way for you to recover, basically.
I get emails from people around the country, and I'd say non-investors. Like, it's very easy to be over trusting.
Yes.
As an investor, you'd always want to keep yourself protected. The paperwork we use kind of leans towards our side to protect us, but we want to protect our buyer and our seller as well. Mm-hmm. When I was first, my voice just cracked there a little bit, so I'm going to admit some stuff right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So my first is stuff I admitted before.
Okay.
But
we're not that special.
What those first 4 to 5 years taught me, when people would stay only like 3 months on payments, or they'd stay like 3 years on payments, but then they would eventually leave. I learned a lot about people skills. I learned a lot about screening people and what to do and what not to do. And as investors, you had mentioned about kind of keeping ourselves protected. Mm-hmm. And that's a no-brainer. Like, as investors, I think investors, before you invest in any real estate, you should ask 1 million questions, 2 million questions. Count them. It's got to be 2 million. And so we definitely want to keep ourselves protected and know what we're doing as investors. But it's so easy, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's easy to take advantage of people. Mm-hmm. And some people are malicious, and investors, and the slumlords, they want to take advantage of people.
Yeah, they only care about them.
They just think about themselves. The things that I've seen, the park managers, the owners, other investors that I come across. So we definitely are going to be protected. I also talk to people on emails that aren't protected, but they don't know what they're doing. So we just, all around, you want to stay protected. Yeah, if there's something that people get from this video, it's, ask many more questions. If you're interested in this niche or real estate, ask so many questions.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Especially with real estate, because there's a lot. We've done a little bit of real estate investing, and it was always disastrous because there's just so much you don't know, and so much kind of comes from just getting yourself out there and being in the, learning by fire almost. That's what real estate feels like to me, at least. So I know that, I mean, I'm sure you've learned tons of lessons.
Well, so trial and error is kind of like by fire. And I feel that's how so many people get started. It's either the resistance to maybe hire somebody or ask questions. When you were in those real estate deals, was there ever a coach or anything like that? Or
no.
Did you, looking back, do you think
that
you were too trustworthy? Boop, take that away. What was that? There were no mobile homes. There were no mobile homes.
I remember we definitely called you and asked you questions.
I hope I gave you some good advice at the time.
Yeah, there was nothing anyone could have done in that case. We were too far gone. But
a big thing was trust, I think. The person that you were,
the contractor, we did not trust the contractor ended up being a bad guy that didn't follow through, and he hired the wrong people to do the work, and it was a mess.
You're being really PC. You want to cuss a bunch right now because that guy was terrible. And there are a lot of folks out there, mentors, people that sell things online that don't really care that much, contractors that don't really care that much. It's really bad to say, like, and I like to think people are innocent until proven guilty. But with contractors, especially, or like handymen, it's like, you got to prove to me that you're not going to take advantage of me.
And I imagine you have to deal with handymen all the time, right? Because with mobile home investing comes having to do a few repairs or fixing things along the way. Mm-hmm. So I guess, that kind of actually parlays well into my question, which is a question that a lot of people probably have. How much should somebody have to get started doing this and investing in mobile homes. You obviously did it in a very clever way with buying a house on payments, and you basically bought the house for $1,000, and you were able to really make that work for you. But for most people, how much money would you say somebody would need to get started in mobile home investing? I get that question all the time with stocks, so I know that it's probably just as tough of a question to answer. It's like,
no, that's good. That's a really good question. And that's a very common question.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think I just want to give people an idea of, because with buying a single family home or a duplex, right? I mean, you need capital.
You do.
You need capital most of the time. I know there's some people that find clever ways to get financing and clever ways to do it, but for the most part, you need money, and there's going to be stuff that goes wrong. So I feel like this might be a way for people to actually break into real estate investing.
When you first get started in real estate investing, it seems like the natural progression is for people to try to wholesale properties, because you really don't need too much money to wholesale a single family house. You have
Explain like I'm five wholesaling for the people watching, just for people that don't know what that is. Because I know that for a while I didn't know what that was. So maybe a quick definition would be good for people viewing.
Yeah. And this is why it attracts so many people, is because you don't need money for this. I am a home seller and you are an investor, and you come to me and you found me by, some type of, maybe you knocked on my door, you heard about me through the grapevine. I'm responding to one of your ads and saying, hey, I need help. My home has some problems, or I'm behind on payments, or there's titling problems, there's deed problems, or there's leveling is weird on my home. And so, or I've tried to sell it with a realtor and I can't, or something. So you offer me a price that I'm happy with, and we write up a contract. You don't really have the money, but you find with that signed contract, I'm on the hook, you're on the hook, but you can find somebody else to be on the hook. So now you take that signed contract and you sell that to someone else for a few grand.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5,
I go
6.
find another investor and say, hey, I have this contract. I have a really good price on this house. Do you want it?
It is with more, in today's world, it's more like you send an email blast, you go to Facebook groups, there's already real estate investor clubs. There's ways that you'd market it more than just standing on the street corner, with a sign.
Yeah, but the essence of it is basically you found the deal, and now you're going to make a buck selling it to this investor over here, because you don't actually have the money to actually buy the house. Which
is why it's so attractive to most people. So to answer the question of, do you need money? The answer is no, but that's very misleading. If there's so many videos saying you don't need money to invest in real estate, and technically you don't, but you would have to. If you don't have much money, the less money you have, the more action you have to put in.
Exactly.
So you're going to be knocking on doors, you're going to be hitting the streets, you're going to be talking to people and rummaging through the neighborhoods to see who's selling what, because you don't have the money to do mail campaigns and to do newspaper or radio ads or TV spots or have a billboard. So you have to work harder because you don't have the money. So if you have just a few thousand, $2,000-$3,000, let's say 5,000, just because.
Okay.
$5,000, which is a lot of money. If you have $5,000, you do not need to buy. Let's turn it back to mobile homes. You don't need to buy the first mobile home that comes along. If you have $5,000,
why?
Oh, I just mean that one of my first mentors, he said, just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it.
Gotcha. Wait for the best deal.
Right. Just don't let it burn a hole in your pocket. And so you don't have to buy the first thing that comes along, but everything you do with that $5,000 should be very strategic. Why you're spending the money, what you're spending it on. That's your seed capital that you're starting everything else from. It's so easy to lose $50,000, let alone $5,000. So everything you do with $5,000 has to be super cautious. And let's be real, is that $5,000 going to help, every mobile home seller in a market, in any market? No way. It's only $5,000. How's that going to help everybody?
Yeah.
It's not going to help many people. It's not going to help most people. It's not even going to help a few people at a time. But if you have $5,000, a couple $1,000s, $1,000, $3,000, $4,000, you stepping in and taking over someone's back payments, or taking over their future payments, that's a godsend to some folks,
to some people that have the house.
Yeah, that are losing the house,
so
that
you're
have lost their
coming
job,
in and saving, like kind of helping them get out of a bad situation.
The people, I don't want to make it sound too cliche, but that's exactly right. The people that we do a deal with, that's exactly right. Now, there's plenty of people that we don't buy their homes, but I hope at least I'm giving them value and I'm helping them and I'm like pointing them in the right direction. I'm giving them options. But the people that we do help and we deal with, like going back to that first lady who she was almost 3 times my age in that mobile home, my very first deal. I didn't know that I could help her. I felt so like, how am I going to help this person? How am I going to help this seller that's, 3 times my age and I don't even have the money? But what I learned is that she didn't want the place. It was a headache for her. She was behind on, I learned later that this lady actually owed money to somebody else that she bought the home from. And she just skipped town without paying her. So she owed money on the home. So she was lying to me but I was so new, I didn't know. So anyway, long story short, nothing happened to me, but the lady who sold it to the person I bought it from, she lost like $2,000.
Oh.
Because that lady.
I feel like that's like a whole nother rabbit hole that I could go down in with asking questions, which I won't for the sake of time. But I feel like that's very interesting. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
All of the different behind the scene things that you don't even know are there.
Right.
Like you didn't know this lady owed probably when you bought the home, right?
I didn't even know mobile homes existed by like a month before that. And then certainly not this lady. And I learned at that first deal, okay, sellers can lie to you. And then, okay, buyers can lie to you. And
nice lesson in trust, huh?
It started. Yeah, it started then.
So basically, somebody could start investing in mobile homes with a couple $1,000s.
I say $3,000.
$3,000
to get started with. But again, you can have $20,000 and make nothing. You can have $3,000
because you do a bad deal
and make It's really, and then even in the beginning, if you have $3,000, if you have $20,000, you have to get your money back. So your exit strategies on these first 10 homes, Nikki, you only have $5,000 to get started with. Well, your back's against the wall. For your first 10 deals, a majority of them, 5 or 6 or 7, have to be cash. You have to sell for cash. And when you
get the cash
back, right. And you're not going to make as much money.
So you make more money on payments than you do selling for just cash.
Totally.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I do want to get into like return potential. I just want to make sure that let's recap some pros of investing in mobile homes. Like, what are some of the benefits? We know low capital to get invested is one of them, right? What are some other ones?
Well, first of all, people might not be thinking if there's mobile homes around them. I mean, obviously, if people are maybe listening this far into the interview, they think, oh, I've seen a mobile home park. But usually you don't even know until you're kind of primed for them. Like if you just bought a new car, you kind of like see that new car everywhere.
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying.
And mobile home parks, they're in all 49 states. They're not in Hawaii or the District of Columbia. But in your area, the folks listening to this video, I don't want it to seem like we're only investing like 2 miles from our home. Like you'll be driving 20, 30, 40, 50 miles away. So a benefit is they're pretty much in every state. They're in every area. You have access to them. Limited capital. This is a down-to-earth business. You should really like people, want to help people, want to talk to people.
There are many people that love dealing with people.
This is not get rich quick. You're not making a ton. Even when you sell for cash, you're not making a ton of money.
What's a ton of money? Like, because for some people, for some people, doubling their money, I mean, that's 100%. That's a lot. That's big return. Those are big returns, buddy.
Those are
100% returns are like big returns. I mean, obviously it depends how long it took you to make that return.
right.
But I feel like that can be very impactful in many people's lives that I deal with.
Right.
So, but you know, I know you've been doing this for a long time, and it's funny coming from the stock market world. It's 100% return is like a big deal, and you're like 100% return is not.
If I could invest, I mean, just a bunch of money into something and say double it, that would be amazing. But these deals are sort of like limited to, okay, we're all in for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. We're doubling that, so it's fairly contained. And I said that, you know, if you're selling for cash, you're leaving money on the table. Like doubling your money is for cash. So if you're selling on payments, I want you to make 4, 5, 6 times your money.
Wow.
Or more.
And that's possible, you're saying.
Well,
that's a possibility?
No, that's more than a possibility, because whenever we sell on payments, I want us to get 100% of our money back in the first 6 to 12 months. And we sell for at least 60 months. So we want all of our money back in year 1, and then the next 4 years are profit.
Wow.
So, I mean, minimum. And then we go maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Then. I mean, you're cash flowing.
Yeah.
After you get your initial capital back. That's amazing. And if you have multiple properties, you could be cash flowing enough to basically live and pay the bills eventually if you carry enough properties, right? Like for most people, I feel like that's a great way potentially to supplement income through investing.
The access to, I guess that's the most powerful one. Like you said, you were asking about what's the pros of this business. Yeah, access to like the ability for the, you know, a regular person or someone when they're 20 years old, when I got started, that it
to get cash flow.
Yeah, for that to even be a possibility, to not go through an underwriter, not go through a bank, not go through all these third-party things, and to actually help people.
Yeah.
Like to be in a business where you're really helping people both on the buying side and you're selling these homes.
Well, you're helping people the most because affordable housing is one of the biggest issues that we're seeing in this nation. I mean, it's really expensive to live and buy a home. Most people can't afford it. And, you know, you are basically helping people have a nice home that they can live in affordably. And that's important. And I've told you before that I feel like manufactured homes and mobile homes, I mean, I can only imagine that sector is going to continue to grow, you know, and people are going to continue to seek out that type of housing because you can't really afford to go anywhere else, you know.
And it's such a 75% of the mobile homes in existence are in on their own small piece of land. Like the person that owns the home owns the little
land.
piece of land. 1 acre, 5 acres, a piece, little tiny, less than an acre. But it's 25% are in parks. And that's what we think about mostly is where the mobile homes are, mobile home parks. But the legislation now, mobile home parks every year, 10, 20, 30 of them are being just destroyed. Is it more than that? More than that. I think like 100 parks, actually. There's only like 10 or 20 being built. There's way more parks being destroyed every year
Than built.
And because nobody wants a new park built in their backyard. You know, the communities don't want, they protest against that. When you tax a mobile home, like it might cost you $4,000 to put a child through school, but that mobile home property tax is only at $300. So now the city is losing $3,000 for every kid. So it's like, it doesn't make money. I mean, just the way that they're currently taxed. So people don't want them. Building mobile home parks is so difficult, but I totally agree. Like it's a need. I don't know what affordable housing is going to be. And it's unsubsidized. Like it's the last unsubsidized type of affordable housing. Apartments are subsidized, or they can be. And so anyway, it's such a need, affordable housing. And it's like, where do people go to actually buy something
that they can own and have? Yeah.
They don't have like neighbors to like the apartments, like, you know, people bouncing on their neighbors, like they can resell it, they own it. It's wild. Yeah, to like affect people's lives they have kids, and you're like, affecting their lives and helping out.
Yeah, I can tell you've definitely touched a lot of people, meaning you've dealt with a lot of people, and you've probably seen many personalities, and I can tell that you're very passionate about the people that you work with.
Thank you.
So that really comes through. And I imagine, especially, not to get too negative, but things are kind of crazy right now, and people are going through a lot. And, it's definitely something that should be more respected and appreciated, what you're doing. You should I hope you don't feel anymore that you're probably not afraid anymore to say that you invest in mobile homes, right? Like,
no,
you're way past that. You're loud and proud now, right? I mean,
loud and proud.
You got a shirt that says investing in mobile homes,
Yeah, before they were cool.
Yeah, like now they're cool.
They are pretty cool, kind of like they're more cool.
I have a friend that is looking to actually purchase one.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and you wouldn't think, like, years ago, you wouldn't think that someone would be like, hey, I'm looking to buy a mobile home. But, like, yeah, they're cool.
They were, like, when they first came out, that was a huge luxury to have. Elvis, Marilyn Monroe. I mean, there were movies, like, you were in the Ritz if you were in a mobile home park, or you could afford that and to go traveling. Who were you? The Rockefellers? So it's like, I mean, but now, obviously, yeah, well, everyone knows what they become. Maybe they're on
Well, you're improving one mobble home at a time. You're, making them make mobile homes great again. I don't know.
That's such a good. I gotta get that hat now.
So, okay, we already covered the minimum amount someone needs to start investing. We already covered kind of the types of returns. I mean, basically, you can make 100% on your money if you do it right. You can make multiple times your money over time if you utilize payments, meaning if you utilize selling the house to somebody on a payment schedule or a payment plan, because you're basically collecting those payments over years and years. So we kind of covered that. Is this something that somebody can do part-time?
Yeah, it's definitely something that somebody can do part-time. I suppose, like anything, the amount of time that you put into something somehow, in some fashion, I would say not a linear way, like exactly, but the amount of time you put into something is what you will get back. Granted, you could spin your wheels and just put in a bunch of time, not doing hardly anything productive and get nothing back. But the amount of time that you put in, for newer mobile home investors, I encourage folks. I think people should get their first deals in their first 30 to 40 days. Like, this is a business. It's not a hobby. If we don't get deals fairly quickly, we're going to probably look at the shiny object and do something else. And let's be real, around you, within like a 20, 30, 50 mile radius, there's probably hundreds of parks. Like around here where we are, there's over 250 parks in a 50 mile radius.
Wow.
Now, you can go farther than that, but within those 250 parks, there's people that are going through silent struggles. They can't pay their bills. They've mismanaged financiers. They've lost a job or a loved one, or they're not even in the state anymore. So it's finding those folks, it's talking to those folks, it's negotiating. And so when I work with newer folks, I try to encourage that people have between around 30 to 40 hours a week, which that's a full-time job.
Yeah, that's a lot that's a full-time job, right? Pretty much.
The hours can come from the weekend. They can come from, this is typically what happens.
Yeah.
Sun up to sun, especially in the beginning. Like, if you're building something from scratch, you have to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to sugarcoat that. I want people to get through as many parks as possible to really see who's out there, know what's for sale. Not just Facebook or Craigslist. Don't do that.
Like, get your feet on the pavement.
And yes, and understand these people. Who are they? What are they selling? Why are they selling? And then let's make offers to everybody. Now, you asked about time. People they know how much time they have. Like, if you think about it, you could probably carve out some weekend time, some little bit after work during a lunch break. It might add up to
for sure,
for 15, 20, 25 hours, which is a substantial amount of time. If you're productively using 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week to build this, that's absolutely maybe your first deal might come in 60 days or so, or so. But yeah, 20 hours a week, 15 hours a week.
So that's doable. That's
absolutely.
very doable, especially, I mean, if you are trying to create another source of income, you have to hustle. And especially if you have no choice, but you have to work your job and try to do this side hustle. I mean, I'm the same way. You can't sugarcoat that. Like, if you want a lot of money and you want to have a secure financial future, you got to work for it.
Right.
Like, there's just, unless you get a big inheritance. I mean, that's like the only way, right? And I think that is very reasonable to ask of somebody, like, hey, let's take your weekends, go get to know the parks, go get to know what's for sale, start talking to people, figure out needs in the communities, and just get it done. So that's very doable as a part-time job, it sounds like, or a part-time business.
If somebody's prepared for that, if somebody's
If
ready
they really
to
want it.
drive around, be in parks, talking to people from a safe distance, being in homes, driving behind the wheel, on the phone. You have to, this is not a behind the computer type of business. This is a very hands-on people business.
Yeah, but some people love that.
Oh my gosh.
And they'd be a great fit for that. Do you have people, because I know we haven't touched on this, but you have students, you teach people basically how to do this and avoid probably the biggest mistakes and the pitfalls and stuff, right? And so do you have students that are doing this full time and actually living off of the income?
Yeah.
Wow.
No one has done that in under a year. So I want to kind of like, because that sounds like really like, oh my God, I can, which of course, like every home that we buy, it's like a raise. We give ourselves like a raise whenever we buy a home, and then we cash flow it $300 or $400 more dollars. And then we go on we do it again and again. And sometimes we sell for cash, sometimes we sell for payments. But everyone that I've helped go full time, or pull their wife home from work, or pull their husband home from work, that's taken over their first year or over 2 years to get one or two people home. Because, it depends on how much money you're replacing.
Yeah, exactly.
A doctor or pharmacist or more blue collar.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing that you've been able to coach people to getting their wives or husbands to have to be able to leave their jobs and to be able to get people to quit their jobs and do it full time. It's
been such a trip. Like it's been crazy to learn first with mobile homes and like a crash course in people that way. And then after moving from Tampa over to Texas, Austin, and I didn't know first of all, I didn't know if I could do it outside of Florida. I'm like, what is going on here?
Because you were
let's do it.
Very established in Florida.
Yeah. And so we're moving over to Texas. Okay, let's do this. So then I learned, learned the rules, started doing it, learned the rest of the state's rules, started helping other people. And I'm like, can you do this in other states? And then, one state, another state, another state. And the people that I work with, they're the magic. They're the ones that are building something from nothing and a reputation, and they're helping people. So that's really where that comes from, is the people and everyone building their own business. But it's been amazing, like helping people. Again, like some people, they just want to make a couple $1,000s a year. Some people, they want, I got this email the other day about a lady who, she's a student that she's an investor that she rarely reaches out. And, we haven't talked in a while, and she was able to she's like up to $3,000 now cash flow. And she's able to she's like this sweet older lady. And the reason why it stands out is because I think she's in her 80s, and she's doing this and she's making this work, and she's able to now, like, she has much more confidence in that her and her husband have this like better retirement now for the next few years.
She's secured now, 80s, probably.
Like in this, I let you read this email because it was such a touching email. Like it's just, I guess it's just crazy. Like it's not, we're not just millionaires or like, you got to be rich in this business. No, it's just making an extra $600, $1,000, $2,000-$3,000 a month.
Yes. That would help everything. A lot of people, And that's amazing that she was in her 80s or 80
yes.
and doing this. It just goes to show you, because I actually had somebody reach out to me who is older as well for, finance stuff. And, she was asking, is it too late, for me to
Wow.
to learn finance and basically learn how to manage her money better. And I'm like, it's never too late. It's never too late for anybody. So to hear that someone that was 80 took this on, started doing it, now she's cash flowing and she has money to feel secure in her retirement. I mean, what more, can you ask for?
Multiple properties. I mean, this business is hard enough for someone of, half her age.
Yeah.
Let alone that. So it's, again, the credit goes to the folks that I work with.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome.
Well, I am I think I think your journey is amazing. And I think what you're doing is amazing because no one's really talking about it. No one talks about mobile home investing. You've definitely been able to shed some light on how it works today. I think that I've gotten a really good idea of how you've been able to actually make money doing this. And it's so, I'm just going to kind of regurgitate what I've taken from this for people. And that was a pro of remember that was a pro of investing in mobile homes, that you found your dog.
Oh my God, yes.
Bring Oso up here.
Dreaming right now.
You can bring him up.
I know, I can see he's like literally dreaming, chasing some kind of bunnies or something. Oso, come here. Oh my goodness, I know. I just woke you up.
There you go.
This is how it should have been the whole time.
Yeah, it really should have.
Why did you?
Yeah. So this was a pro of mobile home investing. You found your baby. Yeah.
This is Oso. He on my baby. Yeah, it's true. It's funny the attachment that we get on our animals. He was in a park. He was in the first mobile home park that I went to purchase, that I did purchase, and or not that I went to purchase. I went to look at a few. But he was underneath a car. He was like underneath. He was the park manager's dog. He wasn't homeless, but he was like living underneath a van, and that's why I like to think he likes to be under the bed now.
Oh.
But he was like under a van, but he was only a baby, and this was a great thing. I was like, at the time, I'm like, you know what? I haven't had a dog. I'm ready for a dog. I've been putting this off for years, and so it was wonderful. My little trailer park.
Your
dog.
little trailer park. Oh, see? You like mobile home investing too. Okay, so here's my recap of mobile home investing. So basically, somebody who wants to invest in mobile homes, they need to really get to know the area, and they need to go meet the people, figure out what's for sale, if anything's for sale.
Yes.
They need to, and tell me if I'm wrong on any of this, maybe knock some doors. And do you knock doors and just like ask people questions?
No, not so much anymore, because the park homes on private roads, that might be different.
Okay.
And homes with COVID, I don't know what.
Yeah.
But in mobile home parks, that would be frowned upon.
Okay.
Because the park manager would say like, "Hey, who are you? What are you doing?"
You just want to get to know the homes for sale.
You want to get to know the homes for sale. You want to. Well, I would encourage the folks listening that it's so easy to do a bad deal. It's so easy to overpay for a mobile home. It's so easy to do too many repairs. It's so easy to sell the property and leave money on the table and not sell for enough. Or if you're selling on payments, get the wrong person in there. Like those are 4 huge spots where people will almost guarantee, certainly make some type of mistake. You'll still be profitable maybe, but you could have made more. Or you did. So it's so easy to do those 4 things that go through 50 properties, really see a spectrum of, oh, this is a one type of seller, and this seller needs to move for a drastically different reason. And then, oh, this is a much, just sort of just people in general. And then the homes, like, wow, I thought that the other home was nice. This one is amazing. Or my God, I didn't know they could be this bad. Or one thing leads to another. So yeah, go through like 50 properties.
And just get a feel for what's happening in there.
The prices, you'll meet people. And then eventually you can, of course, make off. I mean, when I work with people, we make offers right away, like a lot of them. But if you're not working with anybody, if you don't know what you're doing, you have to do that trial and error. And people
Gotcha.
can make mistakes by jumping in too quick. I think that's when people make mistakes. You just jump in too quick.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
And if you're not learning by somebody else, if someone else isn't teaching you, you're not learning through someone else. You have to learn through yourself. So it's like, go slow
to go fast.
To go fast.
I think because that was one of my questions, the pitfalls to avoid, and that basically answers that perfectly.
Oh, yes.
So I think that's definitely food for thought for anybody that is thinking about going into this business. They kind of now have an idea of what it entails and the pitfalls to avoid and the types of returns that they can expect, the types of the time that they can put in and potentially get something out of it. Part-time hours are possible here. You can possibly invest with not a whole lot of money. So I think that those were my takeaways. Is there anything that I'm gonna plug your YouTube?
Okay.
Because you put out a lot of really good YouTube content.
Yeah.
I haven't done mobile home investing myself, but
do I make it look good?
I watch your videos and I'm like, maybe I should do this.
What?
No, you're.
I think I make it sound pretty like terrible. I think I make it sound pretty like this is a lot of work.
Well,
I hope so, because that's what
you definitely show the work that goes into it, but I love the way that you're so real in those videos and you show the realness of it.
Because this is, I mean, totally it's been worth it. Like all of the struggles and the ups and downs and the crying and the stress and the gray hairs, like that is it's so been worth it. But it's been a journey. And I think people listening, they deserve to like make their own decisions.
Yeah.
You should know the facts, you should know more. There's 50 other things to do in real estate besides mobile homes. But if that's, now that you actually know about it, you can ask more questions.
Yeah. Or maybe you have a mobile home next door that you've been thinking, that you see for sale. And now you know that it's a possibility to even invest in it.
Right, huh?
Like you didn't, some people probably would have never even thought. So your YouTube, what is your YouTube name for people?
I think you can search John Fedro. I think it's technically like Real Estate Cash.
So your YouTube.
But I don't know how to change it.
We'll link it.
Okay.
We'll link it.
Pretty sure if you search John Fedro.
Okay. And your website?
That is mobilehomeinvesting.net.
We'll link that too.
That's the cooler one to get.
And then are there any other places that you want people to find you?
Oh. Nope. You'll find me around.
Yep.
Searching for mobile homes.
YouTube and your website are probably the two best places, right?
Well, I've written for a bunch of other like websites and things like that, but yeah, reach out. You'll definitely have questions. It's a small world of
small community.
It really is like a small, like around the entire country. There's not that many. There's a lot of real estate investors that call themselves real estate investors that have never done a deal. That's something I realized after my first few deals as well. Like going back to the same real estate clubs and being like, these people haven't done anything, and I've done things, and I'm embarrassed because I'm dealing with mobile homes, but I'm actually doing stuff.
Yeah,
like I'm making this happen, and I'm making money and I'm helping people. Not sure how that segued off of that one, but cheers to mobile homes.
Cheers to cash flow.
And cheers to cash flow. Amen. It's really, mobile homes have always been there for me. Whenever I've dabbled in different things, serious, I need to get that as a shirt.
Mobile homes have always been there for me.
When I've tried to do different things in real estate, single family homes, multifamily,
it all comes back to mobile homes.
They've just been steady like a rock. People need a roof over their head. They pay on time. It's like, where else are you going to buy? You rent something for 5 or 7 years. They own it. People love it. Anyway, I'm rambling.
I love it. I love the passion.
The one beer. Well,
thank you for joining me today and sharing your story and educating people about mobile home investing.
I'm so glad to have, like, this is a really awesome thing. Like, I've been a little nervous and prepping to be on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Not that important.
This is awesome. Are you kidding me? Like, you're trying to help you are helping the folks that are watching, and then new folks that will. Anyway,
I just want people to know all ways to make money, all possible ways, and your story was definitely worth sharing.
Oh,
thanks for being here today. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with John. showering us with knowledge. And I will see you guys in the next interview, and leave comments below. I will link to all the things for you to find John, and definitely go watch his YouTube and learn something. Get your knowledge on. See you later.